It's the one tool that I use as a leader that saved my life, my relationships, my business, saved me financially. It's this beautiful thing I have in front of me called a journal. There's 3 reasons why I use a journal. Number 1, my journal helps me stay organized and capture thoughts and ideas. Number 2, my journal helps me reflect and measure backwards so that I can live in gratitude. And the third thing that my journal helps me do is it helps me plan and therefore gain clarity and then therefore have the energy to live my bigger future.
How long have you been journaling consistently for?
When I was 38 years old, where it finally locked in for me.
Okay, so almost 16 years with the method you're going to talk about today.
Correct. Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Wisdom of Wrench podcast, otherwise known as the WOW podcast. My name is Kevin Comerford, and I am joined in studio with our wonderful co-host, Amanda Meyer.
Huzzah.
Hi, Amanda. We've got a great show today.
Very excited.
As we chatted a little bit before we even got started, what we're talking about today is something that changed my life.
Yeah.
It actually saved my life, saved my relationships. I would even say and go as far as say that it saved my business. That's how profound the topic that we're going to talk about today is to me, and what it is it's the one tool that I use as a leader that saved my life, saved my relationships, saved my business, saved me financially. Do you think it's important to know what that one tool is, Amanda?
I'd really like to know.
Well, it's this beautiful thing I have in front of me that I'm holding called a journal. And there's a lot that we're going to talk about today when it comes to why I use a journal, how I use a journal, and how it continues to be such a major part of my life and my bigger future.
So, Kevin, remind us really quickly, how long have you been journaling consistently for?
It's funny you should ask that because I had a lot of start-stops when it comes to journaling because I had learned about journaling in my early 20s. And it was in the fall of 2009 when I was 38 years old.
Okay.
38 years old, where it finally locked in for me.
You found the way that works for you.
I found the way.
Okay, so almost 16 years with the method you're going to talk about today.
Correct. Do the math.
Over the next
16
couple.
years. I'm 53 years old.
Okay.
So it's been, and when I was talking to my wife about this episode, one of the things that she said, the very first thing that she said that I need to share with people is the consistency and the discipline. And I thought about that I have in doing it. And I thought, no, it's more of the habit. It's just a habit that I have to always go to this journal. And so that's my hope for all of you, is that you can get to a point where whatever method you choose to use, something becomes a habit for you that has as big of an impact as it has for me. So there's 3 reasons why I use a journal. And I'm going to start the show with this. Number 1, my journal helps me stay organized and capture thoughts and ideas. Number 2, my journal helps me reflect and measure backwards so that I can live in gratitude. And the third thing that my journal helps me do is it helps me plan therefore gain clarity, and then therefore have the energy to live my bigger future. Because I'm a believer that clarity creates energy. And that's exactly what it does for me, those three things.
Okay, so organizing your thoughts, creating gratitude, creating clarity, which creates energy. Okay. All right. Now you've been doing this for 16 years. So I know you're about to go into a lot of detail. Everyone's about to get a masterclass on journaling is how I'm going to describe this. So I know Kevin's going to, we'll talk you through it, everybody. But I would highly recommend jumping over to a YouTube or video channel for this episode. Because we'll throw up some visuals as we go so that you can see what we're talking about. We have Kevin's actual journals, which is really cool. So I highly recommend, if you can, hop over to YouTube, hop over to Spotify so that you can watch this episode.
Awesome.
All right,
Great
Kevin.
reminder.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so
us?
we're going to break this podcast up into 3 different episodes.
Okay.
The way I see it is the first episode is going to be around the setup, like the general setup of a journal, because I think just the type of journal and what the journal looks like and what you put in the journal is important. Mm-hmm. And then I think the why also is a part of that. Like,
yes.
Why is it that I've chosen to make journaling such a big part of my life? Mm-hmm. The second episode is how to use your journal in your daily life on a daily basis. And then the third thing is how to use your journal on a weekly, quarterly, and annual basis so that you wrap up all of your thoughts and all of your life into one package so that you can continuously go back and learn from things rather than doing what I used to do, which is scribble a bunch of notes on notepads and never go back to it. Mm-hmm. I was known as the sticky note guy because I had sticky notes in my pockets, and I was known for all these different notepads that I had flipped over and I'd scribble on it, and I never went back to them, Amanda, ever. It's
not uncommon to use that method too to organize your thoughts.
Yeah,
for sure. And so journaling, I think, has helped you keep all of that in one place and allow that ability to go back.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I think journaling, even the word, it kind of has a kind of a weird, like almost like diary, dear diary. And so I've actually thought about, I've actually thought about what's another word I can use. And before we really dive in, I just want to make sure that our listeners know, or our audience knows, that you and I are in studio today. Mm-hmm. But I've also asked Andrew, our producer, to be a part of today's episode because I think he can ask some great questions and give some great insight from somebody that hasn't been watching me journal like you have for all these years. Yeah. Yeah.
If you are watching right now, you can actually see next to Kevin, we've got, how many of these? 10 journals?
This
is only about 6 months worth of journals?
Actually, it's all of 2024.
Okay.
And 2025.
Okay.
So it's about 18 months of journals.
Okay.
I go through a journal in about 45 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a lot to say about journals.
Yeah.
And you are very consistent. I would say that I'm in my on and off phase right now. Andrew, do you journal at all?
No, I don't. And First off, thank you for the opportunity to be a part of today's conversation because I do have some questions. I have tried it in the past.
Yeah.
And it's along with a couple of other things in life when it comes to like, okay, I want to do that thing because I'm hearing so many people talk about the benefits, whether it be exercise, diet, whatever it may be. Somebody tries it, or like myself, I try journaling and I'm like, oh, this just simply isn't for me, right? That's what it feels like for me still to this day. Yeah. So one question I have right out the gate is how many different types of I'll say journals or approaches did you have to go through before you found the one at 38 years old where you're like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, did you have a couple of different things that you had to like try and throw away and then find a one that worked for you?
Yeah. Yes. I struggled for many, many years like you are talking about. And as we talked about earlier, start stops. I found a method that works for me, and it's really, and we're going to dig into this when it comes to the how-to, which is the, looking back at yesterday's wins. As simple as that, like what happened yesterday and being intentional about looking for the good that happened yesterday in order to, I'm getting into the hows right now. So can we hold that conversation for just a little bit, Andrew?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, of course.
We're gonna get there.
A little teaser of what's to come.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna have 3 parts. I'd mentioned that we're gonna get right into part 1 right now, which is the setup and the why does Kevin journal. So I will share this. The setup, and what I mean by setup is it's really important to find a journal that you're comfortable with, right? This is a leather-bound journal, and I'm holding it in my hand right now. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, it's very flexible. I enjoy holding it. I enjoy carrying it. And as you know, Amanda, I have it with me all the time.
Yes.
I keep it with me in every single meeting that I go to. It's got to be strong. It's got to be able to hold up.
Durable, for sure.
It's got to be able to hold up. Yep. It's bound.
It gets a lot of abuse from you.
It does. A lot of abuse and a lot of use.
Yeah.
It's about 8 by 10. So it's slightly smaller than an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.
Yes.
Why? Well, because the brand that I use right now is called Eccolo, ECCOLO. One of the critical things, well, first off, the journal is about 250 pages. And one of the critical things about having a journal is making sure that you have page numbers on them at the bottom. Now, Eccolo went through many renditions of the journal over the periods of time that I've used them. They actually have taken the numbers off of the bottom of the pages.
Oh.
Where they used to have them printed on there. I have no idea why. I just continue to buy them. But you'll notice, Amanda, I write the numbers on the bottom of the pages myself.
Oh, you do, you nerd.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So if you're going to the hassle of writing, why are the page numbers so important? Because you're writing them in. So
yeah. One of the main reasons is because I go back, and I just flipped open to my journal right now, and I have an index where I go back and I notate, okay, on page 6, I had a great visit with George about something called radar screens. And we have a radar screen on our chest. And I wanted to make sure I captured that. I had a discussion about the housing that my son is going to have in Spokane when he goes to Gonzaga on page 17. So this is a quick reference, an index in the back that I could turn to and say, oh, okay. Page 52, I could see.
I got you. Okay.
This.
And so when you've got 10 journals worth over a year, it makes it a lot easier when you need to go back and reflect and look at the highlights.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm with you.
Indexing, and I'm holding it up right now to the camera. Indexing the back of my journal is so important.
Interesting. I don't think I even knew that you did that. I've always seen the front of your journal. I've never seen the back of your journal like that. That's interesting. Okay.
Yes. And that's a big part of episode 3 that we're going to talk about.
So we'll come back to
which is how to tie all this together after you've gotten and perfected using your journal on a daily basis, how to use it to help you set weekly, quarterly, and annual goals.
Okay. That's definitely a better method than like putting, I know I used to put flags, like the little Post-it flags when you had something important. That's so much more detailed if I'm
Yes.
looking for something real specific. So, okay, we'll come back to that in episode 3, everybody.
Yes. So we got the brand,
Yes.
number of pages. Excuse me. Like I said, it takes me about 45 days to get through a journal. Gosh, whew, 2 of those, Andrew. Sorry about that.
All good. I love it.
I know. On the inside cover, and right now I'm holding up the inside cover. On the inside cover of my journal, on the left-hand side, I have what's called my unique ability. This is my personal, you can call it a personal mission statement, but it is a clarifying statement that I use to identify what is my unique ability in this world. How do I make the biggest impact? How do I influence the most people I can? Now, there's a whole episode we can go into on how to create your unique ability. I'm going to just read mine, but I want you to know that this is a process I went through.
Yes.
Okay? My unique ability. I'm an inspirational leader with a contagious passion and enthusiasm for life and a bigger future. I'm a great listener and student with a relentless curiosity to learn and grow. I compete with grit and am persistent to make progress towards worthwhile goals. I use my words to encourage and transform hearts. I am accountable, humble, and consistent. So that's really when I think of me and how I show up in the world, this is what I believe I offer the world as my unique ability. Now, how it ties into my journal is every time I create a new journal, I rewrite this.
Okay.
I also reference this quite often, just as I'm getting in my journal and I look at it and remember, Kevin, you're that inspirational leader. If I need it for motivation purposes, whatever it is, just to look at, you've got this contagious passion, Kevin. Let's show it.
Okay. So reaffirming every single time you go into your journal, you see your unique ability. You're rewriting it every 30 to 45 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
And am I turning to it every day? No.
Not necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
But I am definitely rewriting it every 45 days.
Okay.
On the right-hand side of the front page of my journal or the front section is affirmations. I just write affirmations that I have used and said to myself over and over again that have had a major impact in my life. This one that I'll just share with you that I am someone that wants to get things done fast. I want it done now. And this reminds me to just settle down, cool the jets. And that is, I'm calm and understand that everything is happening at the exact speed in which it's supposed to. Number 2 is my success in life is contingent upon my ability to get other people to feel good about themselves. So just reminding me that, look, Kevin, use your words to encourage and inspire, and people don't really care what it is that what you know. They want to know how much you care, and that's just a reminder for me. My third one is I'm fit, I'm flexible, I'm less than 10% body fat. And number 4 is I'm known in the community as someone who cares about and helps people. The other thing that I do is I'll always write a few quotes that are kind of on my heart at whatever given time that I'm creating this journal. Right now, I've got one that says that I've learned humility is the antidote for contentment. It really is for me. Humility is the antidote for contentment. Just remain a student. And then the final quote is, the true measure of a man is how he treats someone who can do him absolutely no good. Yeah.
I don't think I've heard that last one. I like that one. Okay.
How do I treat somebody that can do me no good? Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the inside cover of my journal.
Okay. We're not even on the pages yet, folks. We are just on the inside covers.
Yeah.
So really quickly, I just want to dig into this a little bit. Now, I know that we've talked about affirmations in the past. What do you feel is the value of having written down your affirmations? Because I'm sure they've flexed a little bit over the years.
Yeah. I think it's a reminder of who I am. And I also think it can be a reminder of who I want to be, especially the one about being flexible.
Yes.
I wrote that when I was very inflexible, unflexible, whatever it was. I was very stiff.
Yes.
And I wrote that, and I kept saying it and repeating it. I'm flexible. And I think we've talked about this on a prior podcast.
Yes.
I wrote that down because it's what I wanted. And so they're not necessarily the way I am today. They could be aspirational.
Okay.
And things that I want to strive to be.
Okay. That's where I feel the practice, if anyone's just looking to get into journaling, right? So this is where I'm in my stop-start, but this is my gateway drug, so to speak, into journaling, which is writing down goals. What gets measured gets improved, right? Like we believe that. So writing down goals, writing down affirmations, it creates clarity into what that goal is, what it is you want to accomplish, what you want to tell yourself every morning. I think the practice of just writing it down puts you in a top percentile of actually being able to accomplish that thing.
Absolutely.
Very early in my days at Service Champions, I know you would run a goal setting class at the beginning of the year. Very powerful exercise for anyone who wants to do it. But writing down what your goals are for the year, making them very specific, very measurable, and then continuing to write down your progress and measure it through the written word. It's so powerful because, again, it creates the organization, the clarity, and the ability to measure backwards as you go through that goal. And so while, we're only on the inside cover, that's a really good place to start for anyone who wants to get into this habit. Just what Kevin's described on his inside cover, I think, is a great place to start.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And Kevin, I'm curious.
Yeah.
So, kind of like with the flexibility and some of the other things, you didn't wait to be that person to write these affirmations. It's kind of like the point of it, right? But my question is, how far out of your weight class should you actually be punching? Meaning if I'm making, $50,000 a year, if I start writing, I'm going to be a billionaire by next year. It's like, okay, that might be a big reach, right?
Yeah.
But I also don't want to say I'm going to make $55K next year. Yeah. So where do you think that how far out should you be reaching with some of these affirmations?
Yeah, I live by the belief that life informs your vision. So if I wrote down a goal like, look, I want to make $500,000 this year, right? Life is then going to happen. And life informs my vision that maybe it's not going to happen this year. Getting in the habit, though, of writing goals, rewriting goals continuously is what I think the key is. It's like when I first started riding a bike, I was no good at it, but I kept getting on it, falling off, getting on it. Goal setting is the exact same way. When I first started setting goals, I wasn't good at it. I didn't really know what I was doing. And so as you continue to do it and you continue to evolve, you continue to look back on it, you'll hone in on what the reality is as you set and learn. Set and learn. Like, again, when I was 20 years old, if I was writing down a goal that I was going to make $500,000 this year, I would have learned pretty quickly that, oh gosh, all right, I need to kind of learn from that, because was that really in my perspective or was my knowledge base enough then to really even be able to get there? It wasn't. So I also practice a method called SMART goal setting: specific, measurable, achievable. Like you have to make sure that it's achievable. And I think only by doing it, setting and learning. And you notice I'm not saying setting and failing, because I don't believe there's anything. I don't believe there's success and failure. I believe there's success and learning, because the learning piece, and if you take the learning from it, you'll improve.
Yeah, I love that, because we're basically course correcting right in the middle of it. And I can be honest and say that's one of the reasons why I might not set either an ambitious goal or a goal period, because I'm like, ooh, what if I don't even get close to it? But what you're saying is it's like, well, you're most likely not going to nail it your first shot. So might as well write that goal, whatever it is. And then if you get a little bit, off of your course, then course correct, and you'll probably end up somewhere close by anyways. But at least you're getting in the habit and you're learning of how to write the goal and actually achieve a goal, right? Because I think that's where my problem is I'm like so afraid of missing that goal that I'm not even going to try. Mm-hmm. I do achieve things, but if I can actually write those goals down, imagine how much higher those achievements could actually be.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. Thank you.
Yeah. Life informs your vision. Think about that for a second. I set a goal. I want to, whatever it is, I want to
lose 10 pounds.
Or I want to get on the Peloton for 5 days a week, right? I want to get on the, be very, very specific, right? And then something happens. Maybe you injure your leg. I know this is just an example. And so maybe you're only able to get on it once a week, and the other couple of days you find that I need to go swimming. I got to swim because it's a lot less impact right now. And so beating yourself up because, darn it, I'm not getting the 5 days a week that I set a month ago. No, life informs your vision. I set a goal. Life happens to all of us. Yeah. Things change. Objectives change. Our desires change. And we learn. And we reset. And we, what were you going to say?
Oh, it's we learn, right? And so that's where I think it's so important. We talked about measure backwards on a previous podcast. That's where we measure backwards. What did we accomplish? And then where do we want to go from here? The horizon's always going to keep moving. So it's just important that we learn and we keep moving.
100%. Yeah. Yes. And one other thing, Andrew, focus on progress versus what I used to focus on, which is perfection. If I'm progressing towards something, be happy with that, Kevin. Focus on what you did right, even though I might have missed a goal. And this is not a cop-out either, by the way, because somebody could maybe take this and be like, oh, gosh, what a cop-out. You're setting these goals and you're already giving yourself an excuse. No, I'm setting these goals with the full intention to go after it. And as I reset and get better at setting goals, I'll be able to accomplish more and more and more of them.
Yeah, my thing is I'm not worried about somebody else thinking that's a cop-out. I'm worried about myself locking that in the back of my head and thinking like, oh, you have an out. That's yes. What I'm more worried about than anything else. But even, again, with that said, if my goal is to do something at 100% and I get 1% better at it, that is still progress. It's not the progress I set out for, but at least we did something, right? We made progress towards something that we're trying to achieve that the person that said it's a cop-out didn't even try. So, we're still a little bit better.
Yeah. Very good. All right, back to the setup. I had already mentioned, great conversation though. I had already mentioned the inside back cover, which is the indexing. The other thing I'll just share is I mentioned earlier that it's important to make sure it's comfortable in your hands, like it feels good, because you're going to bring it everywhere. Mm-hmm. I oftentimes get funny looks when I go to church and I'll bring my journal.
Not a lot of people taking notes.
I'm the only guy. I'm the only guy. taking notes in with my journal, and I'm looking around, and people are like, "What's he doing? Is he getting stuff? He's going to take stuff out of here." Yes, he is. Yes, I am. I am looking to capture what I learned, because I forget as soon as I hear it. So if there's something that stays, that really, resonates with me, I'm going to write it down, because guess what? I'm going to look back on it. And we're going to talk about using your journal daily in episode 2. But when I capture that at, say, church or whatever, I'm going to look back on it and I'm going to use it. And we're going to talk about how you use that information in a future episode. Another big thing, I always write in pencil.
Yeah, tell me about that, because you go through more pencils than anyone in this company, I think.
Yeah.
I have to say.
Yeah. I always write in pencil. I think there is something powerful for me, writing in pencil, putting, whether it's pen or pencil to paper. For me, it's pencil. I can erase when it's pencil. And, I'm just going to share this with you, Amanda, which is journals can be deposed. If in a court of law, journals can be deposed. So if my journal is ever deposed, it's nice to be able to erase. Okay,
very, very specific reason to use pencil, but I hear you.
That's not the main reason, but that is one reason. I use a 0.9 lead. I use it's a Pentel Twist Erase 0.9 lead. And it's something I feel very comfortable with. It's kind of like that favorite pen or pencil that you have.
Yeah.
It's so important to find that, so that it's just really, really comfortable. I want to go back really quick, because I said I bring it everywhere. I went golfing yesterday. I don't bring it to the golf course. So let me make sure I'm clear.
I was feeling like maybe that's what you were about to say.
Yeah, no, I don't bring it to the golf course. If I'm going to work out, I might bring it to my workout if I want to write down my reps or whatever. But I'm bringing it to different functions or different engagements that I'm going on. Certainly, anytime I'm in anything that has to do with business, or a meeting I'm having with my financial manager or whatever, I'm bringing it.
Okay.
I'm bringing it. Knowing that there's going to likely be some follow-up actions I'm going to need to take, or there's going to be some actions that I'm going to need to make sure I hold others accountable for what they said.
Okay.
And
I think based on your comment about bringing it to church, also anytime that you want to retain the information.
yes.
Because writing is very powerful for that too. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. The last thing I'll say that I do with a journal, and you'll see on these here, is I date them. So on the inside, I have my unique ability. I've got those affirmations, but I also have a date at the top. This is when this journal started. Because all journals that I use, you'll see, have a beginning and an end date. So this one just happened to be April 1st to May 18th. You can see that every single one of them here has the date noted. And if you're looking at this online, I sent over to Andrew this morning what I call my journal wall of fame, which is I sent him a photo and also a video of all the journals I have all the way back to 2009 in my office. And that really is leading me into why is it that I journal, and which is the second part of this first episode. And the reason that I journal is I had two mentors in my life as I was starting off in business. One was a really great business philosopher that many of you may have heard of. His name is Jim Rohn. He is really well known in business philosophy. Jim Rohn, he taught people like Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar. He was really the thought leader when it came to inspiration, motivation, living a good life, self-help. He was the first guy that I listened to a cassette that he put out that was titled How to Use a Journal. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that he said was, a life worth living is a life worth documenting. Okay, a life worth living is a life worth documenting. Okay. And the other thing Jim Rohn shared was leaving a legacy. And the three things that you want to leave your children and your grandchildren is you want to leave them all the books that you read. You want to leave them all the pictures that you've taken. And you want to leave them all the journals that you've written in. So those three things that he said you want to leave for your children seared in my mind at an early age. And I got the first two. Mm-hmm. Like, I get it. I read a lot of books, and that's easy. I'm going to make sure I set these aside. I take pictures, and I'll have them for my kids. But this journaling thing, remember, I was learning this at like 22, 23, and I'm like, why does he have to ask me to leave my journals? I'm terrible at it. And so I went a long time, as we've talked about, with this guilt hanging over me that I'm not really journaling. Mm-hmm. Until the fall of 2009. And in a minute, I'll share why that is such a profound time in my life, and where journaling really saved me. The second mentor that really helped me with journaling was a gentleman by the name of Joe Cristiano. Mm. Joe was the CEO of Kelly Moore Paints. He's been a mentor of mine since 1991. So I met him when I was 20 and have known him for well over 30 years, 32 years now. And in 1995, Joe had me out at his company to visit him in San Carlos. It was a paint manufacturing facility. And Joe shared with me that he was known as somebody in his company that had a great memory. Like, he always remembered everything. And that gave him an edge. And he said, Kevin, in business, you always want to have an edge. And his ability to be able to document and write things down, like you were talking about, was one of the things that he said helped him become a CEO, mm-hmm. because he had an edge. Where others weren't writing stuff down that they were referring back to, he was. And he also told me that he wrote things down that allowed him to stay focused on his people. And I said, what do you mean, Joe? Well, on that trip that I went to his company, we walked around his paint manufacturing facility. And I watched him. He had these index cards for each of his team members that when he had a conversation with them and they told him something new, he made a note about something with their kids, or he took a mental note, and when he got back to his office, he wrote down, okay, Jose, his son is in a boxing match next week. His son Joseph is in a boxing match. But I watched him write in detail on these individual index cards that he kept in this box on every one of his team members, and I was completely blown away that he knew all this detail, but he did it through a method. He didn't keep it all in his brain.
Right.
He did it on these index cards. So I watched him do that. So that was one thing. The second thing Joe did is he had today's date, like that, it said like June 5th, and you turn the page. It was just a little thing on his desk, and it was June 6th. You turn the page, and it was June 7th. It was just it had today's date on it, and it was a small little, probably 6x8.
Like a little planner.
Okay,
I'm with you.
But it had just one day on it at a time.
Okay.
And he would turn. But what I watched him do that day is every single interaction he had with anybody, phone call, interaction with somebody that came into his office, he made a note about what they talked about, what was discussed, what actions people were taking, whether it was him or the person that came in and told him they were going to do. So he notated and was great at writing down the actions, the follow-up actions that he needed to take or that person committed to. And the third thing I saw Joe use, which was a day timer. He used a day timer, which had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the dates on it in a separate book. And he would always, that's where he put his calendar.
A day timer?
It was called a day timer.
Am I too young to know what this is?
Oh my gosh. A Franklin Covey day timer. It was before we kept the date on our phone. It was a day timer that he used that had the whole week, and he would open it up and had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Also like a planner. Okay,
like
I'm with
planner.
you. Okay,
like
okay.
a planner.
Still with you. Okay.
Yes, but it was I think it was a brand that was called
Day timer. Okay.
Day timer.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So he used three things the daily index cards, the indexing cards of his people, the single day planner they had on his desk,
and the full week
and then
planner.
the full week planner that he had.
Okay.
More in like it was like a journal form.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
So I saw him use those three different methods, and that's where I took what he did and integrated it into one.
Into one place.
Everything is right here in this leather-bound journal, and it's the one tool, again, that I use that has done so much for me and helped save Kevin from Kevin. Yeah. I keep saying that, but I mentioned it earlier, I was a guy that was known as the sticky note guy. I had scraps of paper that I would write down stuff because my mom was really good and taught me to always write stuff down.
Totally.
And the importance of writing things down. But what I wasn't good at was I wasn't good at organizing. So I would have stuff in my pockets. I'd have, like I mentioned earlier, I'd have all these notepads, old notepads that I would never go back to. And again, this one thing, having one journal to go to and go back to, was a game changer for me. So why 2009? 2009 was an interesting time in my life. And why was it that I finally made the decision that journaling is something that I'm going to create a habit around and use it forever? Well, we started Service Champions in 2003.
Yes.
And we took off and we grew to $15 million annually in our first 4 years. So 2007, we were doing $15 million annually. We were getting all these awards across the country. Nobody had seen anybody do that before. How do you grow to $15 million in revenue in 4 short years? We were exploding. We were a sales and marketing machine. But what happened to us, Amanda, is we all of a sudden went totally flat for the next 5 years and didn't grow at all. It was really weird. And I was struggling in 2009, wondering what the heck is going on. I was so used to this explosive growth.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm getting kicked in the teeth and I'm taking all the blame on myself. And what I realized is I needed to get more education because I was the problem. So in the fall of 2009, I went to a conference, a Gazelles conference, and they had these breakouts. And I heard a gentleman speak in one of these breakouts, and he literally said these words. He said, journaling on a regular basis saved my life, saved my marriage, saved my business, saved me financially, and saved my relationships with my kids. I was like, what? How in the world? And he began to share his method, which is really a lot of what I use today.
Okay.
And you've heard me say this before, Amanda, which is when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Well, it just so happened on that October day in 2009, the student was ready.
Yeah.
I had been struggling. I had been beating myself up because my company was flat, was not growing, and and I needed to hear that from him to finally say to myself, okay, I am going to give it one more shot. And again, I could have had another start-stop, but I was at an all-time low there. And what I did is I made a commitment. So for the next 3 months, I said, okay, I'm gonna use it daily. I'm not sure how I'm gonna use it. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, and we're gonna talk about that in the next episode. But little did I know that 2 months after I started journaling every day, I would discover something that was going on in my company that would change everything in my life. I discovered that I had an accounting manager that was embezzling from me, that was stealing. And she stole over $1.3 million from me over the course of a 3-year period. And yes, we convicted her. She was sent to prison. Yet what I felt in the impact that had on me was almost unbearable. I felt shame. I was embarrassed. I thought I was going to lose the business. Our bank accounts were depleted. Mm-hmm. We weren't able to get the money back. It was gone. We don't know how it was gone. We can get into all that, but we followed bank accounts and it was gone. So I lost a ton of confidence in myself in that December of 2009 period. And I really wondered, am I even worthy to be able to run this company? These people count on me. These team members count on me. And how could I let that happen? How could I let that happen? Maybe I'm not worthy of being able to run a company like this. So those were all the doubts and all the thoughts that I had in my mind. Yet there was Kevin, who had 2 months prior made the commitment that I was going to journal every day. Now remember, my journaling every day was focused on what were my wins? What good happened yesterday? So in the midst of all this going on and me finding out about this embezzlement and what I was dealing with, every single morning I got up and I was getting into the habit of writing down what went well yesterday. I was intentional about writing out and looking for the good. And that, Amanda, is truly what I firmly believed saved me, because I thought I was low when I went to that convention in the fall of 2009. Nothing was lower over the course of that next 6 months. That was the lowest part of my life, where I just thought, oh my gosh, how could I let this happen? But every single morning I would wake up and I got into this habit of writing in my journal. And from that point on, I have stayed consistent for 16 years writing in my journal.
Wow. What a good advertisement for the next episode where we talk about the daily wins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good time to find journaling too.
Yes. It was a really interesting time, and I'm with you in this episode that we've just finished. You have gained clarity on just the setup of what a journal looks like, and you've also I've also shared the why. So you're right. In episode 2, we're going to come back and talk about how to use a journal on a daily basis to help you transform your life. So as I end each podcast, I'm always someone that's looking to make my future bigger than my past. So team, here's to a bigger future. Thanks a lot.